So if they're distributing to, okay, gotcha. Mr. Corona, Councilman Corona, did you have any comments?
Yeah, yes, I did. So, going back to that last thing. So you're saying, Mr. Fung, that if a cannabis business has they're cultivating and they have a dispensary, but they're shipping the product there, then they get charged zero on that?
Yes, for the city of San Diego, that's how it's set up.
How about if they just do cultivation and distribution only, but no dispensary?
So how San Diego works is only 0% if you distribute to yourself, like you had a dispensary. But if you were to send it out to somebody else or another dispensary in town, it would be 8%. That's how it's structured.
Okay, and currently it's at what? 10%?
For us?
San Diego is 8%.
No, I'm talking about the city of Paris.
Paris is 10% right now.
Okay. So if you're a cultivator and you also distribute, you're being taxed on the cultivation and then you get taxed for shipping your own product. So, I mean, I'm trying to see as a business standpoint, I don't have I'm not cultivating any marijuana here or cannabis, but
Mayor.
like if they're going to charge me to ship my own product and some other cities are charging them zero, isn't it feasible for me just to get a third party to come pick up my product for me?
Yes, that's a real possibility. Yes.
That's probably what's going to happen then. Right? Is that okay?
Yes, I would say that's a real possibility. I think.
Well, if you're a business owner, if I was a business owner, I'm not going to pay to have it distributed if I can get it done for free somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they're charging them something else,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's probably not 10%. Okay.
Did you have more?
Yeah, well, I just had comments in general, but I do want to thank Councilman Rav for bringing this up. Anything cannabis related is oftentimes kind of controversial, but I think most of our residents and our area, we're kind of past that. We've had it in our city.
Okay, let me interrupt you real quick because I think our assistant city manager wanted to make a comment on the questions you were bringing up about distribution.
Okay.
Mrs. Miramontes, did you have something to say on that?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I just wanted to clarify that the two distinctions with the cultivation tax and the distribution tax. So the cultivation tax is only a one-time payment for the year based on the square footage of the canopy. It's not based on gross receipts or tax or sales or anything like that. Again, when we established these, it was set to control, to pay for some of the impacts of a controlled substance legally, obviously. Now the distribution tax is a sales tax when it's sold to outside vendors as opposed to self-distribute, meaning you have a storefront. Therefore, you're right, Councilman Corona. You won't tax yourself if you're selling it to yourself. But the tax for the sales tax is only captured under the distribution tax and not under the cultivation tax, because that's a one-time fee that they pay for the year. It's not based on gross sales received for that year. So I just wanted to clarify the two distinction of the taxes. And what Mr. Fung had mentioned as an incentive, if you are providing a distribution in conjunction with the cultivation rather than going to an outside distributor, it would make sense to incentivize and reduce that cultivation tax, which is really per square footage only for the canopy. And like you mentioned, possibly reducing that distribution tax. Now, these are sales that are going to outside of the city, it can go into the county, it could be in any state pretty much, but those are being sold not to the actual cultivator itself. So I just wanted to make that distinction. That was it. Thank you.
And Mayor, if you don't mind.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Den.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to just for anybody who's on here that hasn't been involved in the last few years, when Paris was on the forefront of these tax issues and ordinances back a few years ago, and in order to put tax measures on the ballot, they have to be approved by the voters. So I will admit that when we put these things on the ballot, it was like a kitchen sink approach. Set the highest tax amount with everything included, but also grant the council the authority to make those changes after the voters approved it, make the changes according to what the council thought over the years. So you have the numbers quoted in this, the $25, the 10%, those are all maximum rates. The council can lower those to whatever the council wants without having to go back to the voters.
Right, thank you. Okay, back to you, Mr. Councilman Corona. I know you had some other comments or questions.
Well, I think Mr. Dunn kind of said a lot of what I was going to say, but I think at one time when we did do it, because the residents of Paris were thinking ahead, because our city has been ahead, and the rest of the neighboring cities have been kind of copying us or trying to play catch up, and some of them still haven't been able to figure it out. But all of our illegal dispensaries are gone. Right. And with the cultivation, it's still a work in progress. We're still going at it, but it's important that we support the legal ones that are trying to do everything right, that are taking those, being scrutinized by the state and by local health laws and stuff like that. And the ones that we have actually done a good job of it. We don't hear of any issues. There's no crime going on in there. So, it's just a way to allow them, the ones that have been doing everything right, to be competitive. And right now, as some of these cities are trying to figure it out, and the county's trying to figure it out, it's important that we stay competitive, because what they're doing is lowering their tax rates. And it's important that we either match it or even go a little lower. So I'm definitely in favor of 13.5. I think that's fair to match up with the county. I'm not concerned about Long Beach, because Long Beach, to own a building in Long Beach costs a lot more than what it does in Paris. So that kind of offsets the cost of wanting to come to Paris when it comes to rent and just if you want to purchase a building. It doesn't make sense to tax the cultivators for shipping their own product either, at a high amount. And I agree with Mr. Dunn, with the residents set that as a maximum. We can't go any higher. We can certainly go lower. It's anywhere between 25 and 0. I don't think it should be 25. I don't think it should be 0. I think somewhere there at 13.5 is good. And if we have to go lower later on, we'll go lower later on. But that's just my thoughts on that. And then, I did speak with Mr. Ortega. He does hire people. He pays them more than minimum wage. He provides certain benefits to them. Some of these jobs aren't just regular, just ordinary jobs. There's scientists in there, people that have to, deal with the plants and whatnot. So I'm in favor of him staying in Paris and potentially adding more jobs, because it seems like he's growing. That's it for me. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, did you have any comments? Okay, for starters, for me, number one, I got to start off by, like I always indicate, as a retired law enforcement officer, I do not support anything to do with this cannabis and marijuana and what have you in our city. However, it is a business, and the residents did vote and approve this, so I do go along with the program only because I am voted in by the people, and they spoke out when this was passed. A lot of good comments were made this evening. The cultivation distributor type of business owner, as our assistant city manager, Mrs. Miramontes, indicated, and I think she lays that out very well, they're only getting a cultivation tax of one time a year. So in the case where Mr. Ortega brought up, well, I don't have that slide, it's on the presentation, but I think it's somewhere around $150,000, $160,000. The harvest times throughout the whole year, is somewhere between 13 and 15 weeks. I can't remember the exact number. But even going at the maximum 15 weeks, every 15 weeks they will have a harvest, and that means they will not get charged for cultivation again. So I think that's where the distribution tax comes in. When you are a cultivator and a distributor, yes, you're paying a cultivation tax, but that's one time a year. And the rest of the whole harvesting of 15 weeks throughout the rest of the year, they're going to have their harvest. And And when you say harvest, I mean, that depends on how many canopies they have. That could just be one room that harvested of 6, 9, 10 rooms that they have. So it's multiple harvesting that's going on that they're not paying the tax. And that's what I've learned from listening to our assistant city manager, and that kind of really laid that out there pretty good. I have no problem going along with the rest of the council if they want to lower the cultivation tax rate, but I think we still need to have a distribution tax in there, not completely zeroed out. That was all I had for now. So at this point, we're looking for a motion to set some limits. Am I correct, Mr. Dunn?
Actually, Mayor, we're looking for consensus because all of this would need to be done by resolution. Going back to what I was saying before, the voters approved the maximum taxes and granted the future councils the authority to make changes to the rates, and not only the rates, but actually the regulation and all these changes that you're talking about right now. So we don't need a motion, but some kind of consensus, and I'll defer to Mr. Fung, but we could bring back a resolution that includes some of these things, and then you could make the specific decision at that time and plug in the numbers as you see fit.
Yeah, my suggestion would be just to cover one tax at a time. Let's get feedback on the cultivation rate and get feedback in terms of the range you want us to set it at for the cultivation first. I do want to clarify that staff supports just the canopy area, which is the way the state taxes it, and is how most of the city deals with it. Once we determine that number, then we transition to distribution tax. Should we set it at 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever that rate is? But we should take one item at a time so that our legal counsel can work with us to kind of draft a resolution at a
All right, so
future date.
staff's recommendation was $15, and thanks for mentioning that canopy only, but I wanted to make comment on that too. I think they should be only, that's only the fair, right way to, you should only be taxed on the canopy areas, not the size of your building, that you're not even using it for the product, so. So council, I'll leave it up to you guys to come up with a number, but right now, the staff's recommendation is $15. I'm good with that. Mayor Pro Tem's nodding yes. You guys will have to speak up. Let me go one at a time. So,
Okay.
Councilman Rab, we got two at $15.
I agree with Councilman Corona for $13.50, but if a third vote is needed to reduce it down to 15, I can do 15. But I think $13.50 to be competitive with the county.
Okay, so it's up to you, Councilman Magana, $13.50 or 15?
My initial thoughts were $13.50 based on the chart that was provided by city staff. So I would be comfortable with the $13.50.
Okay, so there's your consensus, Mr. Fung, to go with $13.50 for starters on your resolution. Mr. Fung?
Yes.
Okay, I'm seeing
I
nods
got
by
that.
Mr. All right, and then we'll come back, Mr. Dunn, with a resolution, and then we can, at that time, finish off the distribution portion of it.
At that time, I think the council can consider a resolution at the $13.50, which sounds like a consensus, and then give further direction on the distribution either at that time or at another future meeting.
So, but this could be on the same resolution, or both those taxes need to be on separate resolutions?
I understand Mr. Fung's recommendation was to do one and then the other, but if you'd like to do
Yeah.
both at the time,
Yeah,
that's,
I think we should do both. I was just trying to separate out the two items, just talk one item at a time so we can get direction.
Right, so we got your direction now. So we come back with the resolution, with the $13.50 on it,
on cultivation, yes.
on
If you have further
cultivation,
direction-
and you could include the distribution tax at the going rate right now, which is 10%, and at that meeting, we can deliberate whether we're going to reduce that or how we're going to apply that to a person who is a cultivator and a distributor or just a distributor.
Mr. Mayor, I believe he was just trying to clarify for the discussion this evening. Now that we got the cultivation, we would prefer to have some direction on the distribution also.
Okay.
He just wanted to separate the vote tonight,
All
not,
right, then I misunderstood him. All right, so let's talk about distribution then. The current rate right now is 10. Can you bring that slide back up that shows all our fees in there? I think we're at $10 or 10%, whatever it is, 10%.
Yes, Mayor, it's at 10%.
So the staff's recommendation is to keep that the same. Anybody want to comment on that?
I do have some questions on that. So I know that the county of Riverside has that $3 per square foot, and then Moreno Valley has 8%. It's hard to kind of compare, but is there kind of a number that we would get? Like, do we have estimates on if we were to bring it down to $1 square footage amount, or if we were to bring it down to a percentage amount?
No, I think distribution is based on gross receipts, not square footage of your facility.
Well, if you look at County of Riverside, you see that?
Yeah, it could be either one.
It can? Okay. Are you starting off with a number, Councilman Corona?
No, I'm asking the staff, like, did we do, if they ever kind of research which one would be, would provide what type of tax rate?
We didn't do that research because it's really based on how much revenue they bring in. So it's kind of hard to kind of gauge. It depends how successful they are.
If I chime in, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
The per square footage, again, would be a one-time fee. And that's, I don't know how much room it takes to store a product. However, the percentage would be based on gross receipt sales, which is based on how much volume is sold. And it's not, and that's ongoing as opposed to the per square footage. So I just want to clarify the two differences.
so Mayor and Council, could we first get direction if you want to have a different rate for those that self-cultivate than for those outside? And then it's hard to predict potential revenue because, as you mentioned earlier, Mayor, you could have multiple cultivations in the same square footage, therefore the gross sales could be multiple times per year. But perhaps if we start with the first question, with the council wants to have two different rates, one for those that already cultivate or not, and then we can come up with rates for each. The initial staff recommendation was to keep it 10 for outside, but have a reduced rate of 8% for those that already have a cultivation business, correct, Kenneth?
Yes, yes.
So is there a consensus to maintain it or reduce it? Perhaps we can start there and move forward.
Council, anybody? Okay, I'll start off. I say keep it 10% for distributors only. And if you are a cultivator and you have a distribution business as well, I would say bring that number down to 7%. That's my recommendation. Kenneth, you can unscreen your sharing now so I can see everybody on my screen. Thank you. All right, Council, anybody any feedback on what I just said?
I think that sounds fair.
Mr. Corona?
Oh, yeah, yes, I do agree. If you're only a distributor, then it should be at 10%. But I do have a question, Mr. Fung. When it says NA, does that mean that they don't charge anything, or we just don't have information for that?
Some of them, they don't have an ordinance, so they don't charge. And some of them, this is pretty fast moving information. So sometimes, so that updated sheet, all the red was the new information I found. And so, so I updated that chart you saw, so where I said NA, and then I found out it's 2 to 6%, or it was NA and it was 1%. or sometimes it's 0% because they didn't want to charge distributors.
Okay, and I believe on your charge different from our staff report, but there's one city that they don't charge if they deliver within the city. So if you're a cultivator and you distribute to your own dispensary or another dispensary within the city of Paris, they charge you 0?
Yeah, some cities, if you distribute if you distribute your cannabis business in town, it's 0%. So it's just, there's just multiple approaches to this.
Okay.
But it's if you have a dispensary within your cultivation site.
If you have one, not just.
So you have to have one. So it can't be a cultivator that wants to send their product to another dispensary within the city.
Mr. Malcolm,
Are they-
Councilman Corona, we
Yes.
set the policy, not staff. If that's what you want to bring up, then you're more than welcome to bring that up. Right now, they're just saying.
No, I'm getting clarification right now to see how does Palm Desert do it? So it's not that, yeah, I'm trying to see how is it that Palm Desert does it?
I think Palm Desert, they don't charge any tax rate.
Okay. For any distribution.
Yes,
Okay.
they don't charge at all.
I wonder if you could put on the slide with showing the one that does it within their city limits. Is that Palm Desert or was that another city?
Let me pull up the slide again.
It was San Diego.
No, it wasn't
thought
San
no.
Diego.
So yeah, Cathedral City.
Cat City, okay.
Cathedral City only allowed you to distribute within its own city limits. They don't allow, at least in theory, they don't allow people to distribute outside the city boundary.
That's a very tough restriction there. Councilman Corona, did we lose you?
No, I'm just trying to think. I see that in the comments that Mr. Ortega, has some things to say, but I know his time went up, but maybe he has valuable information. I would actually like to hear from him.
Well, this is not a presentation. This is
Okay.
this is a hearing, and everybody had their chance to speak already. So I can't open this back up again. I'd like to hear from other council members about what I suggest: a 10% distribution only, and 7% if you are distributing and you're a cultivator.
Mayor, may I ask?
Councilwoman Magana, go ahead.
Sorry. So I just wanted to clarify when you're saying 7% for distribution, is that for square footage or for gross receipts?
You had to throw a wrench in there, didn't you?
And if I may add, my personal thoughts are to work with gross receipts.
Yeah,
rather-
I think that's where we're going already. My intentions was gross receipts.
Okay.
And that's the way the ordinance that was adopted by the voters is set up. So if you wanted
Okay.
to change it, it required a lot more than just a reso.
No, we'll stick with the gross receipts.
Okay. So in that case, Mayor, I second your motion with the 10% for cultivate.
10% if you're if you're a distribution only, you would be charged 10%. If you're a cultivator in our city and have a distribution license, it would be 7% tax.
One quick question. Hate to make things more complicated, but what if someone who's a distributor that owns like their own, or cultivation, they have their own dispensary in the city?
Well, I agree with that other city. If so, we need to clarify that. That's a good point. So 10% if you're a distributor only. If you're a cultivator and a distributor, it's 7% of the gross receipts. And if you have your own dispensary in our city, then I would agree we don't charge you on that one. How's that? Councilwoman Magana, you good with that one now?
Can you repeat the last statement regarding if you're your own dispensary?
If you're a cultivator and you have your own dispensary in our city, not somewhere else, but in our city, you wouldn't get charged to distribute to your own distribution, or your own dispensary in our city.
Yeah, that's reasonable. That sounds fair to me,
So it's
Mayor.
10, 7, and 0. 10 for distributors only, 7% if you're a cultivator and a distributor, and 0% if you are a cultivator and you distribute to your own dispensary in our city.
That's fair.
Councilman Rab, are you good with that?
That sounds good.
Okay, that's 3 already, but I'll still ask you, Councilman Corona.
Yes, but I do want to clarify, is there any, I don't want to call it discount, but I guess it is a discount. If you distribute to a dispensary in the city?
No, I said 10% for 10% for distributors only, 7% if you are a cultivator and you distribute, and only 0% to your own distribution facility, dispensary facility in our city, not to any dispensary. We got 3 already, so that's.
Right.
I'm
That's
just
fine.
letting you make your
Yeah,
comment.
yeah, but are we still, like what I'm saying is maybe open the discussion regarding that specific issue. If you're distributing within our own city to cut down the cost for the dispensaries in our city so that they're able to compete against the other cities that have it where they're actually charging them 0. So it's completely separate for you. Yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm just saying to add
You know,
that
you're just
discussion.
adding to any dispensary in the city if they, so if
Right.
you're a cultivator and a distributor and you distribute to any dispensary, you want to give them the 0% discount?
No, any dispensary in the city.
That's what I just said.
Yeah. So it's not any dispensary, it's within the city. So
And-
if you're a cultivator and you're distributing, but inside the city of Paris, then you should get some kind of discount.
That's what I just said.
Yes.
Okay, so if it's to your dispensary, it's 0%. Are you suggesting a higher number to any distributor, any dispensary in the city, or 0%?
I don't think it should be 0,
Okay.
but I don't think it should be 10% either.
Okay, so let's modify this. We're solid on 10% for distributors only. If you're a distributor only, you're 10%. So let's just lock that one, put that one away. I haven't called on Mayor Pro Tem because she is consistently consistent with no votes. Am I correct, Mayor Pro
But
Tem?
I will support what you proposed originally,
Oh, thank you.
the 10, 7, and 0.
Okay, so let's do
And I-
this. I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
I was just going to say what you proposed originally, the
Okay.
10, 7, and 0.
Okay, so we're going to throw one more caveat in there. So, Mr. Fung, please document it, or more so, Mr. Dunn. So our 10% for distributors only, we got that locked away. If you are a cultivator and you also distribute, you will be charged 7% of the gross receipts. If you distribute, and that's done, everybody's satisfied with that one. If you are a cultivator and you distribute to your own dispensary within our city limits of Paris, and I specify our city limits of Paris, not county areas, you will get charged 0% for that distribution. If you're a cultivator and a distributor and you distribute within any dispensary in our city limits, any dispensary in the city limits of Paris, my recommendation is that would be 5%. So it'll be 10, 7, 0, and then 5 if you go to any dispensary. And I'm going to start with Councilwoman Magana because she initially started with me. Are you good with that?
Yes, Mayor, still good with
Okay.
that. I concur.
Councilman Rab?
Still good.
Good. That's 3 already. I'm still going to go to you, Malcolm. Mr. Corona? Councilman Corona, are you with us?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was muted, but yeah, I think I'm good with that.
Good. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Very good. All right. So we've got it. You got all that, Mr. Dunn and Fung?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not a vote, it's just a consensus, so you got your direction. We can close out 10A. Is that where we're at? Yes. Okay, item 11A is our public comment / citizen participation. Anybody wishing to speak, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Justin Fan.
Mr. Fan, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
You have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Honor Mayor and City Council and city staff. I'm presenting our work with Pastor Lincoln with the Concerned Family, and we're looking to establish a healthcare facility that would help the poor and the people that cannot afford affordable healthcare, as well as once they go through the rehab and the health facility, we may have a location for them to create jobs and job training through our program. So basically, by working with Pastor, what I've learned from the city of Paris over the years, that there's quite an amount of people that goes through Pastor Lincoln's church that have a lot of mental issue, whether it's veteran PTSD, drugs addicts, and so on. But there's not enough facility, there's not enough services in the city to help. And I actually brought doctors and dentists and to come there to treat the patient from the city that came for the services. So we're looking to formally establish a federal quality centers to be able to establish that for the city. And on top of that also is what we have. Thank you. And also what I would like to establish is also, I'm glad you're bringing up a lot of subject about cultivation with cannabis and hemp, which also a concern for us is that a lot of the cultivation that's been done here in the West is the usage of a lot of chemical and pesticides, hence a lot of testing we see in order to sell the product. So what we look and do is basically what we call a, lack of better word, organic farming here in the West, but we do something on the East called natural farming. That's already been around for 50, 60 years by a group of missionaries that goes around the world to teach people how to grow food in their own backyard with little or no money. But yet we don't know how to do that here. So I've already tested here in Southern California, and I've asked my team to come and present, kind of introduce ourselves to the mayor and the city council. What we're hoping to do is to establish exactly except the federal health center along with job training and farming practices that is better for our environment. Can we have the slides on some of the example of some of the, there you go. So our area of focus basically is mental health care, PTSD with veteran, substance abuse, anxiety, you name it. Okay, we have primary care, women health, pediatric, dentistry, and so on. Next, please. And then some of these job training skills. Basically, these are grants that we're able to get from the federal government. And the folks that I invited here to speak with you after me is that these are the expertise that have been doing this for many, many a decade. But not to say we're old, but all of us combined, I think we have almost 150 years, almost 200 years of experience in doing what we do. We are business leaders and community activists. Next, please.
Mr. Fan, you got 10 seconds to wrap it up.
Slide down. Okay, all right. Basically, that's it. And I just want to show you the slides of the pictures of all the organic growing, if you can. That down. No, all right, okay. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Please reach out to City Hall. We can schedule a Zoom meeting with myself and staff, and we can talk more about this and maybe perhaps get a regular presentation back to our City Council on what it is that you're proposing.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sure. Okay, anybody else, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Pastor Lincoln.
Pastor Lincoln, are you on? You're muted right now. We'll come back to Pastor Lincoln. Anybody else?
Alex Stern.
Mr. Stern?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, you got 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. So my name is Alex Stern, and I've been involved with American Natural Farming and the cultivation without chemical. And on top of that, I've been a founding team member of 8 companies with 5 exits, IPOs, and 3 acquisitions, including a founder of Constant Contact. So I travel the world speaking to startups and entrepreneurs about half my time. And through COVID, I've spoken to over 1 million people. And so I'm really excited to be working with Justin, who I partnered with, and the rest of the team, with some folks that have been in the space for many, many years. I don't take credit for 200 years worth of experience, but a lot in many areas to make sure that we, when putting the Qualified Health Center in place, with all of sort of the resources, the tools and things to bring it to market and to have success, which is my experience. And I look forward to working with this project and certainly with the city of Paris to make sure this is successful for all of the residents that can have what is provided to others today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Stern.
Craig Mizowicz.
Craig, you on? You're muted.
I am.
There you
Can
go.
you hear me?
Go ahead, Craig. You got 3 minutes.
Good evening, Your Honor, City Council and City staff. I'm part of Justin's team. My background is heavy business. I was an executive in the mattress industry for 27 years. Part of my job was also community outreach and integrate that into our team and our companies. And we've worked across the board nationally and locally. And for the last 10 years, I've been working heavily on rehabbing the homeless and assimilating veterans to get back into the workspace. We've created some unique programs, and we've got a great team, and we want to bring our talents to Paris and do the impossible and bring jobs and bring revenue and teach people how to grow their own food naturally. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tam Gwen.
I think Nugent. Tam, are you?
Yes, hi. Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead. You got 3 minutes.
Yes, hi. My name is Tam, and I am also a part of the team that Justin had a brief chance to introduce to the project to the city council on the project that we try to implement in Paris. My background is in establishing. I'm a CPA, and for the last probably 15 years, I've been involved in setting up federally qualified health centers, to running it, to setting up policies and procedures, and staying on top of compliance and everything else that comes with operating an FQHC, as you call it. And I think that the city of Paris and its surrounding area does demonstrate the needs that would qualify for a federally supported program like an FQHC center in city of Paris, and along with all the different aspects of helping the community, not just on the medical care, but on teaching them a life skill that Justin had kind of briefly mentioned, along with our team with Alex and Greg and Pastor Lincoln. I think we're gonna be doing some very good things for the city of Paris. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Was there anybody else on that group? Pastor Lincoln, we're going to try you again, sir. Are you on?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, Pastor. Go right ahead. You got 3 minutes.
Yes, my name is Pastor Lincoln Cooper with the Concerned Family. We've been in business with the Concerned Family for over 20 years. We had March Out Force Base for a while to shelter women and kids. Also, we've been also in working in Riverside. Right now, we're in Mead Valley. And we've been working with the less fortunate people, most of the poor people. And we have a building now that a company right now just built a kitchen that's worth $250,000 to assist us in this area, to help the feed is so needed. It's growing tremendously. And Justin and the group are coming together to make a difference in our community because it's time and the people are hurting out there. In fact, we've been feeding over 6,000 people and growing per month, and it's a very serious problem. So we're thankful to come together with this group to make a difference, and the job training program, educational program. Also, Dr. Cornell, he gave us a medical bus, and we're going to be working with that. Also, it's mobile, and we'll be going around different communities to help the poor, free medical assistance. Hopefully we get another bus. And so we're moving forward, and we're just grateful to come together as a unit and make a difference to help our community that are less fortunate and ones that are hurting in our community. And I feel like now is time to make a difference, because the world, the economy is getting really bad. People are losing their jobs, and we want to be there for them, to assist them, to give them a hope. And I'm thankful to be a part of this here. And thank you for your time and the opportunity to share with you the vision.
Thank you, Pastor, and Mr. Fon, for bringing your whole team in here. You caught me off guard on that. That's good. I look forward to meeting again and in the near future. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody else?
That is all.
IT, do we have anybody wishing to speak?
Yes, sir. Rance Garrett, your mic is on.
Mr. Garrett, you're on. You got 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you for, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me the time to speak with you. In listening to your conversation regarding cannabis and the resolutions that you talked about, I'm not sure that everyone completely understands the ramifications of a 7% distribution tax on top of a cultivation tax. I can assure you that that will chase everybody out of Paris. If you don't want any business cannabis operations in Paris to cultivate and distribute, that needs to be, that cultivation is fine at $13.50, but the distribution needs to be close to zero, because right across the street or across the freeway in the county of Riverside, the competition is substantially cheaper than what you're asking the businesses in Paris to pay. And quite frankly, and listening to Mr. Ortega's presentation, he's wanting to expand his business, and you're basically telling him, no, you cannot expand your business, and you have to move out of town. I can assure you that that's what's going to happen. I've been in business a long time, and this is, I would ask you to revisit this and talk to whoever you have to, including Mr. Ortega, to reconsider this 7% dual tax. It is crippling and will put businesses like Mr. Ortega's, I believe it's Claiborne, out of business. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Mr. Brent Barnes, your mic is on.
Mr. Barnes, are you on?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you got 3 minutes, sir.
Hello, I am one of the owners and the chief scientific officer of Claiborne Co. We are a cultivation and self-distribution company in the city of Paris. I am also going to bring up the topic of distribution tax, because I do not think the understanding is there within your group of how much this will affect our business. Not only one is that tax is enormously high compared to other cities and other jurisdictions. It's like when we are trying to compete at a statewide distribution with companies that pay 0% distribution tax, like Desert Hot Springs, and we can move literally a quarter of a mile across the street into the county of Riverside and pay $9,000, where we would pay $1.8 million in the city of Paris. I think you guys are misunderstanding that is literally a non-starter for a business. We are trying to expand our business and give our tax dollars to the city of Paris, but if we cannot compete with the market, then it does not allow us to expand in the city of Paris. And it also makes us not want to expand our cultivation or any other tax generating profits for the city of Paris in this jurisdiction. We want to generate our tax dollars in an area that's going to benefit our business and benefit our local region. It's like, and in this situation, it's far too high for us to even withstand operation. It's one of those things that you really need to look at it as a business statewide, not locally. Distribution, we distribute to 2/3 of the state, so we have to compete with distributors that operate in the entire state of California. We do not distribute outside of the state. That is not a part of regulations or anything like that. It is not coming anytime soon. But we are competing with distributors that pay nothing for self-distribution. And it's double taxation on a product that we create. No other business pays like this. We don't pay any resale on this. We are a wholesale distribution company. The sales taxes are collected by your retailers. Your local retailers are taking care of the sales taxes for you. So it's one of those things that we are open to conversation. We would like to open our doors and discuss this with anybody or any of the council members. But it is a very big concern for our business. And I would like to thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Mr. Nick Ortega is requesting to speak. Nick, your mic is on.
Mr. Ortega, you're on. You got 3 minutes, sir. Mr. Ortega, you there? Do we have anybody else standing by? IT?
No, sir.
Okay, last call. Mr. Ortega, are you there? You want to speak? Okay, we're going to close public comment. Item 12 is council communications. Councilman Rab, you want to start us off?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Vargas. I'd like to start off by wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday and Happy New Year as we head into the new year. I just want to remind everyone that Livestream, the local blood bank in the area, is a shortage of blood donations. If you can, please consider donating between now and the new year. The number to make an appointment is 1-800-879-4484. I'd like to thank Livestream, along with Pastor Nolan Turnage and the Grove Community Church, for partnering with the city to host a blood drive on November 20th. I'd like to thank all the staff members who contributed to the blood drive on that date. And if you can, once again, please consider donating. This last Monday, I had the opportunity to attend the RCA, the Riverside Conservation Authority meeting as the parish representative. At that meeting, we picked our new president and vice president. I'd like to congratulate Councilwoman Natasha Johnson, who's the new RCA chair, and our own supervisor of the 5th District, Jeff Hewitt, who will be the vice chair on that. So as we head into the new year, I just want to remind everyone not to drink and drive. We had a major accident with a fatality on Ramona Expressway caused by what police believe was an intoxicated driver. So if you can, please call the Uber, please call the Lyft to take you back to your home after drinking at night. If not, please just try not to drink at all. But really be cognizant of how much you have to drink, and please don't go under the drive while under the influence. And one last thing, I'd like to thank my colleagues for discussing the taxation issue and getting it out there. And I'd like to thank the speakers for coming and making their comments and clarifying a few things. If we could try to tack this on to our special meeting before the end of the year to get the issues resolved so the businesses can head into the new year knowing the tax rate, it'd be greatly appreciated. And that concludes my comments for today. And I want to just wish my colleagues, congratulate my colleagues on their respective re-elections. We'll see you on the 10th for your swearing in. And I'd like to thank everyone for participating in today's meeting.
Thank you. Councilman Corona?
Thank you, Mayor. I too want to thank the speakers that came and spoke with regards to the different issues. Going back to, I'm not trying to bring it up, but in light of the public comments, I do feel that when we do have the next meeting, if we can have a presentation, essentially we have only two cultivators and pretty much just one main one. And, it's very important that we really hear from them. I don't think the 3 minutes allotted during public comment was sufficient. I think there's some missing information and maybe information that we're not fully receiving from with regards to this issue. It is a complex issue, obviously. So I just think more time needs to be used with the presentation. Our city has been busy. I know it's kind of trying times, but our city continues to move forward. We continue to keep building and progressing forward. It seems like a while ago, but since our last council meeting, we actually discussed, or we actually opened up the Nuevo Road Bridge. I attended with Mayor Vargas and Mayor Pro Tem Rogers, the ribbon cutting. And, the cars driving by were just so excited and people are still happy about it. I'm sure all the side streets are very happy as well, too. And construction now begins on Getz Road for the widening of Getz Road. The street was closed for a couple of days to remove some large old trees that were there. But, it seems to be moving and progressing. And the residents in the south part of Paris, I'm sure, are going to be pretty happy. At the same time, too, I did attend two groundbreakings. One for the new Aldi's that was attended by Mayor Vargas and Councilwoman Magana. So there's going to be a new Aldi's right next to the Walmart shopping center over there in the empty field over there. So, and then also a groundbreaking for March Plaza, and that's going to be on the corner of Harley Knox and Paris Boulevard. So it's potentially another smaller shopping area. Could be business park or something, but they're going to start with the gas station, which is much needed in that part to help, maybe potentially drive some revenue from our neighboring northern city. That's it for that. And then, with the new lockdown that's happening, that was just announced recently, some of our businesses that were already struggling, they're now going to be, hit more financial hardship, some of them. Our city has done a great job of protecting them to ensuring that there's no evictions. And we also took the initiative and gave them a lot of support, financial support for our businesses, our small businesses, if they could show that they did receive a loss of income. Unfortunately, the money often only goes so far. So if we could direct staff of looking to see if there's any type of sources that we could help them out, even the ones that received it, they received it months and months and months ago, and they're going to be getting hit hard, and it's just important that our small businesses are taken care of, so that as soon as we're done with this whole thing that's going on, our businesses are still there, still standing, and they're ready to take on the new year. And then if I could direct staff also to bring back an item with regards to an increase for the development impact fee for the warehouses. I know at the time we set at a certain percentage, but obviously the cost of living, I believe is due for an increase. So if we could bring that item back. And then lastly, I just want to encourage everybody in the city of Paris to continue to take precautions, especially in these times right now. I know Mayor Pro Tem spoke about in the opening prayer, but it's a big surge that's coming around in our entire area. Paris is being hit hard. Some of my students are being affected by it, them personally, and obviously with family members. There's plenty of families that unfortunately they saw an empty chair during Thanksgiving or for Christmas time. So it's just important that we pray for the families and we continue to be careful and take extra precautions. But that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Magana?
Thank you very much, Mayor. I'd like to go ahead by begin to thank all of those who spoke during our public comment regarding the medical care project. This is the first time that I learned about this, so I'm really excited and looking forward to learn more about it. And then in regards to public comment as well from Claiborne, I agree with Malcolm Corona, Councilmember Corona, of having Claiborne speak again at our next meeting and possibly continuing the discussion. However, there was 3 asks that were requested from council, and out of those 3 points that were made, we went ahead and we set the tax rate to $13.50 a square feet of canopy space, not square footage, but canopy space. And council also agreed to excluding so out of those 3 asks, basically, I just wanted to go ahead and make the point that the distribution tax rate, while it's something that you mentioned you were disappointed of, it's something that we also have to weigh our pros and cons as a community. I understand your special interest in that tax rate, but it's something that I feel council also has a bigger picture to weigh in on. But as mentioned, I would encourage a continued conversation on that aspect. And then I'd also like to end by reinstating the importance of staying safe amidst this pandemic. We're having a surge on top of a surge, and especially with this holiday season coming up, I wanted to remind our Paris residents and stakeholders that we do have a public health hotline for the city of Paris. I've been receiving a lot of requests and questions regarding the latest orders that were set by Governor Newsom. And this hotline will be able to answer any questions immediately. They're open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And that phone number is 951-435-7206. So this is great for, I know I had a lot of businesses who had questions about the outdoor dining or any other discrepancies. I know it's frustrating with all the different information and the going back and forth, but by all of us doing our part, hopefully we can go ahead and deter what is happening in our communities and basically the way that these new orders are instated to help with the lack of hospital beds that we have here in our region. So with that, I encourage our community to remain vigilant in these times. I'm sure, just like I have, you hear more and more those around you being affected by this virus. So please continue to wear your mask, take precautions, and be safe. And thank you so much. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, I also want to wish everyone, this is our last regular meeting before the wonderful Christmas season. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And I pray that going into the new year, that 2021 will be totally different than 2020. It's been a challenging year, and I commend everyone that's really put forth an effort to stay safe, to isolate, and particularly our students that have struggled with distance learning, have struggled with being together on football fields or basketball courts, and just trying to learn their studies and look forward to testing to go on to college. And their last year as seniors was very challenging. So I know how difficult it's been. I know as a senior myself that's been isolating and not around my family as much as I would like to be and missing my grandkids, how difficult that is. But it's what is required of us. We all have to make sacrifices. And Thanksgiving showed that many people gather together. And unfortunately, because of that, there's been some surges with different family gatherings. So for Christmas, I know it's going to be hard, but I've made a resolution that I'm going to be here alone on Christmas. I've got 11 grandkids and 4 great-granddaughters, and I'm going to do it alone, and I know how hard it's going to be. But the surge is really astronomical right now, and I don't want to see anybody else hurt or the struggles that we're going through. So I wish you all success. We do still have funds available for workers in the hospitality field, the restaurants that are closing again. If you have some needs for housing or mortgage payments and rental payments, we do still have funds. There are still business loans available. And for the seniors, if you are worried about your meals and don't want to go to the grocery store, make sure you sign up for the Great Plates program. It's through our health department as well. And it's been extended now until January 8th. And that's a real blessing to have 3 meals delivered each day. So you don't have to go to the grocery store. And if you do, try Instacart. They go to Rite Aid, they go to Costco, they go to Stater Brothers. So it's a real blessing. So take advantage of all the resources that are out there. But please, whatever you do, stay safe and reach out to a friend. Do a lot of FaceTiming with the grandbabies and your family so that we can all remain safe and all see each other in 2021. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'll try to be brief. We have some other comments to be made. Thank you, everybody, as well, for coming out and speaking. It's always nice to have our public participation, even if it's affecting your business or whatever reason it may be. Big thanks to our special responders and everybody helping with this COVID-19 pandemic. It's really been a challenge. It's been a big challenge to all our families and our businesses in Paris. And I thank everybody for sticking in there and struggling, and we are trying to do the best we can to help. I agree with Councilman Corona's comment that we do need to revisit and see if we can have a second round of funding for our businesses, so staff can, as he indicated, look into that, as well as what we can do to help even our community members with rental and utility help and what have you. This going through another second round of this shutdown is going to be difficult. It's hard on everybody, but it's also the bottom line. It's a reality. Our numbers are extremely going up fast in Paris. I strongly encourage everybody to continue wearing your facial mask and to continue your social distancing, at least while you're out in public, and even to reduce your contact with families who do not live in your same household. We're going to start seeing we are starting to see already a rise in the numbers from our Thanksgiving weekend, and it's going to keep getting higher in the next few days as a result from Thanksgiving. And then before you know it, it's going to be Christmas time now, and it's going to keep on going on, and it's very difficult. And I know more so for those who have had to deal with a death in their family or illnesses from this COVID, the serious ones where they wind up in the hospital and on ventilators and what have you. It's a big difference when you've experienced that to someone who hasn't had to have experienced that yet. So I just encourage everybody to really, just be responsible and as you're out there in public and adhere to these guidelines. It's not just protecting you; it's protecting everybody. Just to let everybody know, the California Highway Patrol does have a grant out. They have a specialized unit during the week and on weekends, particularly looking for folks that are driving, impaired driving, DUI mainly, in other words, driving under the influence, utilizing your cell phones. We can't disclose where and when they're going to be, but they're all over our inland empire here in our region anyway, so just to be cautious while you're driving out there. All right, so I don't want to keep on carrying on. We got a few more speakers. At this time, I want to call upon our Assistant City Manager, Mrs. Mira Montes. She has a couple of comments.
Hey,
Or
thank
not.
you, Mayor.
There she is.
I just wanted to start off to everybody's probably aware, our city manager, it's his last formal full city council meeting. And he's shy. I know he's not happy about this. But I just wanted to, on behalf of myself, first of all, congratulate him on his retirement. He's still young. And he's got a lot ahead of him, and I'm sure we will still see him around because this is his passion. I know it. He's not letting go, and I think that he will still see him around. So that I know. But I've worked for Richard, directly under Richard, for 10 years since the first day I began to work here. And as a boss and as a leader, I appreciate his mentorship and his integrity in the way that he has helped navigate our city to where we are today. So I appreciate that. Richard is always, on a personal level, Richard has always believed in me and been very supportive of bringing to light my ideas. So with that, he taught me to get over fear, because fear ignites courage and perseverance. So I learned that well, and it's carried me forward and through tough times. So I appreciate that. I wanted to thank him. and just congratulate him. Thank you, Richard. And thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. You're welcome. Now we'll have our Assistant City Manager, Isabel Carlos, give a few words.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. It's been an absolute honor and a privilege to work under the visionary leadership of our City Manager, Richard Belmudez. He is a great leader. The Paris community has been his community for the past 15 years. It has been his focus continually, and it's near to his heart. He has developed the city landscape with much pride, and he has served the Paris community with a humble spirit. The city organization has been his special team. He has cheered many employees on their accomplishments. He has promoted and facilitated their development, and he personally recognizes each employee's higher education achievements. He has been a great mentor to me and to many other employees, and his leadership inspires and begets much trust and much respect. He has led the organization through good years, but he has also led diligently and weathered the storms through many hard years, including this unprecedented 2020 year, which brought much worldwide social calamity and economic crisis. Not only showing strong leadership, but demanding strength from his team as well. He leaves the city in a strong position with much progress to show and financial strength like not many cities can match or measure up to right now at this point in time. Richard, we'll try not to mess things up too badly when you're gone. Thank you for being my professional mentor, a great boss, and a good friend over the years. I wish you all the best and much success in the next chapter of your life. And go Dodgers, and yes, ride or die Cowboys.
They must have paid you up pretty good for that one. All
Thank
right.
you,
Mr. Belmudez, this is item number 13. You're up to bat, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I want to thank my two ACMs for doing exactly what I told them not to do. And I promised I would never talk to them again if they did that. So I think the mayor had something to do with that. But this is my last meeting, formal meeting at least. I guess we're going to have a couple more before the end of the year. It's been 29 years in local government, and I'm really excited about moving forward. However, I am going to be missing some things. One of them won't be Tuesday nights at the council meetings, but there's a lot of other things I will miss. I want to thank the mayor and city council for their leadership. As city manager for the past 14 years, I've actually had the pleasure of working for 12 different elected officials in that span. Some of them, there was a different relationship with every one of them, and every one of them was different and unique. But the common theme with all 14 was that they all, in their own mind, had the best intentions of the city in mind. And I felt that. And secondly, they all provided me the resources I needed whenever I asked. So I thank all of you and the past elected officials. As a city manager, you always try not to play favorites with your elected officials, so I won't. But I do have to shout out to Mayor Pro Tem Rogers because she was there at the very beginning. She was one of the first ones that hired me, and I've known her the longest. Beyond that, though, she always provides you support beyond the professional level, whether it's a rough council meeting, she'll call you the next day, or she'll call you on holidays, on the anniversary after your parents passed away, just to tell you she understands you. So Rita, thank you tremendously, and thank the rest of you also. Ultimately, though, the people that made it happen and the people that I'm going to miss the most are my great city staff. There's so many of them to name, but it's been a pleasure working all of them. And the thing I'll miss the very most is working with both the council and the staff in delivering great projects for the community. And that's been my passion, and I've been able to share it with both past city councils and past staff. So thank you sincerely. With that in mind, I do have my final city council report. We do have a couple items. One I think is not exciting, but very profound really to be able to deliver at this time. And that is in regards to the COVID pandemic. The council's been working diligently with the county, and staff is able to secure some actual testing here in the downtown community. So we will have a team of a vendor that will be on site starting next Monday afternoon. And at least for the first week, we will have, or Monday through Friday, we will have COVID-19 testing here on the city campus. We're not able to accept appointments yet, but we should be in the next day or so. So we're going to encourage all our residents to make appointments and come right here on the city campus beginning next Monday afternoon. Depending on the participation, we may go a second week during second following week. But at this point, we are secure from December 15th through December 18th here at the Bob Glass Gymnasium from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the link will be on our city websites, and we'll have a aggressive outreach program to get people to participate. And secondly, we also will be having a virtual job fair put on by our economic development team, which will take place December 16th. That's next week from 10 to 2 p.m. And I encourage the residents to also check our websites for a link to that event. Mr. Mayor and Council, thank you once again.
Very good. I have Assistant City Manager Miramontes is going to drop off another report for you to give to us. Just stand by for 1 second there.
All right. There's a new street in Paris.
There's the official street sign for our city manager for his going away gift as the.
Let me put my mask on.
This is yours, Richard. And the eagle.
And my eagle. Thank you.
And his eagle. Very good. Congratulations, Mr. Bermudez, on your 29 years of service, of public service. You can put that street sign if you want on one of our parking stalls, and we'll allow you to park there. But it'll only be good for 1 month, and then we'll have to move you out after that. But no, in all sincerity, feel free to come back every now and then. We can do lunch and what have you, and preferably after all this pandemic is over. But we do wish you well in your future endeavors. Anybody from council wishing to make a comment before we close?
Definitely, I certainly do. Richard, you came on board to the city of Paris when we were struggling to find the right city manager. And in my first few years, we went through a plethora of city managers, and none of them were right. And then you came along and you made it so easy. You were calm, cool, and collected, and you were like a breath of fresh air. And you've done everything to make sure the city was respected throughout the region. Your name is legend on all of the commissions and boards that I serve on, and everyone respects you. And you've done so much to instill the pride of the city of Paris throughout the region. And we love you. We're going to miss you, but we wish you the very best on your journey. I know you're going to travel, enjoy life, and come back and see us once in a blue moon. So travel well. God bless.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes. I just want to wish Richard success in all his future endeavors, and may enjoy his retirement. I know he'll be doing tons of biking, hiking, and traveling once the COVID pandemic subsides. It's been a pleasure working with you over these last 6 years, and I've really seen the changes happen in the city of Paris, just not only in my tenure, but the time period before that when you and Councilman Rogers and the previous council members were working to make Paris a better place. So enjoy your retirement. You're retiring at a great age, so you have plenty of time to have explore the world. And once again, good luck in all your endeavors.
Anybody else? Councilman Magana?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So congratulations, Richard. This is really exciting times. I can't help but see you smiling so much. One thing I know about you is that you get excited about Fridays and then now your retirement. But other than that, you've given your undivided attention to the city of Paris. And it shows. Anytime I have last minute questions regarding the council agenda, you're eager to answer them. And you've been a great service to the community of Paris. And I'm excited for everything you've done, and I'm just looking forward to see what we have coming up in the future for the city of Paris. But again, thank you so much for what you've done for our community and the time that you were here.
Thank you. Anybody else? Like Malcolm, your left.
Yes,
Or
I will
last.
go. Wow. So I think 16 years, so big congratulations for your retirement, Richard. From the time I've known you, you're not just a city manager, but sometimes we'll just have candid conversations and you always tell things how they are. With choice words and all, which is just fine. But I know you're going to enjoy your retirement. You still have a lot of youth in you. So I definitely want to just encourage you to do all those things that you've always wanted to do. I'm sure you've done plenty of them. Just make sure you come and visit. We definitely appreciate all the work that you've done for the city of Paris. From all the time that you've spent here, it's just I'm sure there's so many things to count. But I definitely want to just give you a big congratulations and just enjoy yourselves.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, item 14 is our adjournment. I just want to wish everybody from the mayor and city council to all our city residents a very happy holiday season. And most importantly, stay safe and stay healthy. Good night, everyone.